So I started talking about the why or the context. We've talked about other strategies. Solar is a big one for ordinary income, and oil and gas is also geared toward ordinary income. It comes along with a set of deductions, which we'll talk about, and returns that don't really depend on the type of income. But what we find is that most clients and most advisors and their clients are looking at oil and gas and solar to focus on reducing their ordinary income tax. Is I think many of you know, Valur helps across the board here. We're not only about ordinary income. As I said, we've done presentations on and we have strategies for ordinary income, capital gains, QSBS planning, and estate tax. We're going to focus today on ordinary income. So why are we talking about oil and gas? The major distinction here is between solar and oil and gas. Many of you were here for the solar presentation. You understand that that's a good strategy. So why are we suggesting that oil and gas might be valuable either in addition to or in place of solar? It really comes down to two things: the kind of distinction between active and passive income, and then timing. So Farhan, do you want to maybe talk about active and passive
Yeah.
income a little bit?
Yeah. So thank you, Jeff. So the rule of thumb here is that you need active losses coming from any business you set up to write off your active income and passive losses to offset passive income. Now, the distinction here between solar and oil and gases or any other business you do with solar, you have to put in certain amount of hours, which is minimum 100 hours, to become active in your entity. So you could take those credits and depreciation and use them against your active income. It's like any other thing. If you go in real estate, you have to put in certain amount of hours to become real estate profession and take that depreciation, use it against your active income. Now, the distinction here is with the value proposition of oil and gas is that it doesn't require you to spend any hours in it. You're able to take the depreciation deduction and can use it against active income. We'll talk about the specifics of how can that be done. The value prop is that you are not putting any hours in and you're using the deduction against your ordinary income. Now, assuming the time that we have left in the year, there aren't many options. If you pick solar, you have to put in those hours, the project has to achieve mechanical completion. There are a few other things where on the oil and gas, if you have a busy schedule, if you think you cannot get to it, but you still have a high tax bill and you want to do something, then oil and gas is in place to make sure that can be executed within a timely manner that we have.
That's right. And just to amplify, this really comes down to two things. One, oil and gas may be a viable alternative or an interesting alternative for you and your clients because it's less intensive than solar. The returns are going to be good. We'll talk about them. They're maybe moderately lower, modestly lower than solar, but they don't require 100 hours. You don't need to set up a special purpose entity for oil and gas. You can just invest in the fund within days. Oil and gas is easier. It also, as Farhan said, applies to both active and passive income kind of without all of the rigmarole. And that all combines not only to make oil and gas an interesting alternative just on its own, but especially at this time of year when many of you, I'm looking at the names here, and I know that we have a lot of viewers who haven't chimed in yet. Solar it's getting tight to the point where it may already be too late to do solar this year. I'm not going to rule it out entirely. And if you're interested in solar, we should still talk about it. But given the need to complete a solar project by the end of the year and to get your 100 hours in, it may not be viable. And in that case, oil and gas is absolutely better than the kind of tax naive strategy of just paying your taxes. So that's why we're focused on oil and gas right now. It's easier, it's quicker, and at this time of year, it may be the only game in town. So it's worth looking into.